Mickey Rourke didn't climb the Hollywood ladder. He basically got launched out of a cannon. Unlike a lot of actors who spend 10 years playing waiters, random cops, and pizza delivery guys before finally catching a break, Rourke became a star almost overnight. In just a couple of years, he went from being an uncredited extra in a Steven Spielberg movie to one of the biggest sex symbols of the 80s. And honestly, that kind of rise probably would have messed up almost anybody. Rourke himself later admitted that fame hit him like a truck. The money came fast, the attention came even faster, and he blew through millions almost immediately. Yachts, bodyguards, endless partying. The kind of celebrity lifestyle that ends with you waking up in a public park, wondering what exactly happened the night before. And today, we're going to talk about the very strange, fascinating, and occasionally self-destructive career of Mickey Rourke, along with a few movies that turned him into a Hollywood legend. Most people consider Rourke's breakout performance to be in Francis Ford Coppola's Rumble Fish. Looking back, the cast almost feels ridiculous in hindsight. Alongside Mickey were Matt Dillon and a young Nicholas Coppola, back before the world knew him as Nicolas Cage. But out of all of them, Mickey was the one who exploded first. Matt Dillon's career cooled off for a while, and Nicolas Cage didn't fully launch into movie star orbit until the 90s. At the American box office, Rumble Fish wasn't exactly a smash hit, but internationally it did pretty well. Critics loved it, the budget was small, and nobody involved really got hurt by the underwhelming domestic numbers. And this became kind of a recurring theme in Mickey Rourke's career. He was never really a traditional box office draw, but somehow he kept starring in acclaimed movies, winning over critics and audiences, and staying near the top of Hollywood's highest paid actors lists anyway. The next two movies after Rumble Fish, The Pope of Greenwich Village and Year of the Dragon, also struggled financially. Then came one of the weirdest, almost casting stories of the entire decade. In 1984, Mickey Rourke signed on to star in Beverly Hills Cop. He got paid $400,000 for the role. There was just one small problem. He never actually made the movie. Production delays dragged on for months, the project kept stalling, and Mickey basically got paid $400,000 to sit around waiting for filming to start, which sounds like one of the greatest jobs in Hollywood history. Eventually, he left the project, and it's probably for the best because the version of Beverly Hills Cop with Mickey Rourke would have been a completely different movie. After walking away, Mickey signed on for the movie that permanently turned him into an icon, 9.5 Weeks. And this might sound bizarre today, but at the time, the movie had a reputation that was weirdly similar to something like Showgirls years later. Critics hated it. The production was a nightmare. Audiences were divided, and behind the scenes, the set reportedly felt less like a movie production and more like some kind of psychological warfare experiment. There was absolutely no chemistry between Mickey Rourke and Kim Basinger. In fact, they reportedly couldn't stand each other. Director Adrian Lyne leaned directly into that tension. He actually prevented Basinger from talking to Rourke and constantly manipulated both actors in completely different ways. Lyne would tell Kim how much Mickey hated working with her and how miserable he was on set. Meanwhile, he treated Rourke completely differently, talking through scene ideas with him, praising his acting, and basically making him feel like the center of the movie. Kim Basinger, meanwhile, felt completely isolated. Lyne barely discussed the film with her at all, which slowly drove her insane over the course of production. And here's where it gets even crazier. Adrian Lyne intentionally shot the movie in chronological order. So as filming dragged on for months and Basinger became more emotionally exhausted and frustrated, those real emotions slowly started bleeding directly into the character. By the final stretch of the movie, her emotional breakdowns on screen were reportedly very real, which sounds impressive from a filmmaking standpoint, but also sounds like something that would get a director fired immediately today. Years later, Kim Basinger heavily criticized Adrian Lyne's methods during production. But despite all that, she still calls 9.5 Weeks one of the best movies she ever made. And in interviews, she's repeatedly said she's disappointed audiences never got to see the full version of the film, because apparently the amount of deleted material was insane. According to reports, there were over 14 hours of footage. MGM allegedly decided some of it was simply too much for mainstream audiences, and none of those scenes ever made it into either the theatrical cut or the director's cut. The movie was originally supposed to come out in 1985, but disastrous test screenings sent MGM into panic mode. The film kept getting recut over and over again. Release dates got pushed back repeatedly, At one point, people in Hollywood genuinely thought the movie might never even come out. By the time 9.5 Weeks finally hit theaters, it had been sitting on a shelf for roughly a year and a half after filming wrapped. And then the movie bombed. Hard. Critics tore it apart. Kim Basinger even got hit with a Golden Raspberry Award nomination. Honestly, this probably should have destroyed both their careers. Instead, something completely insane happened. The rest of the world absolutely loved the movie. In France, 9.5 Weeks stayed in theaters for almost 5 years. Then it exploded on home video in the US and became one of MGM's biggest VHS hits ever. Suddenly, nobody cared about the critics and box office anymore. Hollywood just saw one thing. Mickey Rourke had become a phenomenon, and for a while, every director in Hollywood wanted Mickey in their movie. And Mickey's favorite hobby became saying no. He was reportedly rejecting multiple scripts a day. Looking back, this may have been the beginning of the problem, because during the exact same period, another actor kept picking up many of the roles Mickey turned down. That actor was Tom Cruise. Mickey Rourke kept turning down movies that were busy turning Tom Cruise into Tom Cruise. Take Top Gun. Today it feels untouchable, but at the time, nobody knew if it would work. The budget wasn't massive, the concept sounded risky, and the project could have easily failed. Mickey didn't want to gamble on it. Tom Cruise, meanwhile, was still climbing his way up and didn't exactly have the luxury of rejecting huge studio projects. So, he took the role. And the result was a $15 million movie making $353 million worldwide while turning Cruise into a megastar. Rourke was also the studio's first choice for Charlie Babbitt in Rain Man. But Mickey had a habit of chasing bigger paychecks, and he was offered more money for Johnny Handsome. So once again, the role went to Tom Cruise. Then came Oliver Stone and Platoon. Stone desperately wanted Mickey to play Sergeant Elias. Mickey rejected him twice. The role eventually went to Willem Dafoe instead. Honestly, the only rejection that really makes sense is The Untouchables. Brian De Palma wanted Mickey for the movie, but Rourke turned it down in favor of Angel Heart. The part in The Untouchables eventually went to Kevin Costner, and the movie became a huge boost for Costner's career. But unlike some of Mickey's other decisions, this one is at least understandable. Because even though Angel Heart flopped financially, the movie eventually became a cult classic, and is now widely considered one of the best psychological thrillers of the 80s. On the set of Angel Heart, Mickey Rourke's relationship with Robert De Niro completely fell apart. And according to people who were actually around during production, the whole thing basically started over nothing. De Niro refused to speak to Rourke on set. No small talk, no hanging out, nothing. Now, to be fair, De Niro had done this kind of thing before. He believed that getting too friendly with co-stars could hurt the tension between characters on screen. The problem was that nobody bothered explaining any of this to Mickey Rourke. So, Mickey took it personally, and apparently he never fully got over it. For decades afterward, Rourke kept taking shots at De Niro in interviews. Then came what might be the single craziest rejection of Mickey Rourke's entire career: Dead Poets Society. Just try imagining that movie with Mickey Rourke in the lead role instead of Robin Williams. Honestly, it probably would have felt like an entirely different film. And unlike some of the other projects he instantly turned down, this one actually interested him. For a while, Rourke was actively talking with director Peter Weir and seriously considering the role. But eventually, everything collapsed. According to Weir, Mickey kept demanding changes to the script that the director simply couldn't agree to. At some point, Rourke lost his temper, stormed out, and by the next day, the studio was informed that he had officially left the movie. This opened the door for Robin Williams. And the result was a $16 million film, making $235 million worldwide while becoming one of the most beloved dramas of its era, which, unfortunately for Mickey, became another recurring pattern in his career. Instead, Rourke chose Wild Orchid, where he ended up meeting his future wife during filming. At the American box office, the movie did exactly what a lot of Mickey Rourke movies were doing by that point. It flopped. But internationally, it performed well and later exploded on home video just like 9.5 Weeks had before it. The problem was that Hollywood was slowly running out of patience. Mickey kept turning down prestige projects while starring in movies that underperformed domestically, and eventually the offers started drying up. Then came Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man. The film completely crashed at the box office. Critics destroyed it, and even Mickey himself later admitted he hated making it. In interviews, Rourke openly said he never even wanted to do the movie in the first place. He only signed on for the paycheck, which unfortunately had started becoming a dangerous pattern in his career. According to Mickey, the only good thing about the entire production was Don Johnson. Everything else, including the movie itself and the director, whom he later described as completely talentless. What makes the whole thing even stranger is that Bruce Willis was originally supposed to star in the movie. Willis really wanted to work with Don Johnson, but the film's pre-production dragged on forever. By the time cameras were finally ready to roll, Bruce Willis had become too big a star for a movie like this. So he walked away, and the role landed in Mickey Rourke's lap instead. The movie eventually made only $7 million against a $23 million budget. And at that point, Mickey became so frustrated with Hollywood that he basically decided to walk away from acting entirely and become a boxer instead. From 91 through 94, Mickey fought in 8 professional boxing matches. He won 6 of them, and the other 2 ended in draws. This was also the period that completely changed his appearance forever. A lot of Mickey's plastic surgery started because of injuries he suffered while boxing. At the same time, he was still acting, but major Hollywood directors had mostly stopped calling. Instead, he started appearing in low-budget movies that went straight to video. After leaving boxing, Mickey tried to claw his way back into Hollywood. 2 movies stand out here: Bullet and Double Team. The first one paired him with Tupac Shakur and was originally supposed to get a theatrical release. But weak test screenings scared the studio so badly that they dumped it directly onto video instead. Then there was Double Team with Jean-Claude Van Damme. And like a lot of Van Damme movies from that era, audiences simply didn't care anymore. The film failed, and it hurt both Van Damme and Mickey Rourke, especially since the media had already started talking about Mickey potentially making a comeback. By the late 90s, Rourke had completely hit rock bottom. According to Mickey himself, he was surviving on around $200 a month, and for the first time in years, he found himself doing regular everyday stuff again, like pushing a grocery cart through a supermarket instead of living like a Hollywood star. Then, completely unexpectedly, Sylvester Stallone stepped in and basically saved him. That happened on Get Carter. Mickey later said he barely even had money for food at the time. Stallone not only gave him a role in the movie, but paid a large part of Mickey's salary out of his own pocket, and fought with the studio, which apparently did not want Rourke involved at all. And this is exactly why Mickey later agreed to appear in The Expendables, even though he didn't really want to do it. Rourke later joked that if Stallone had asked him to run naked through traffic, he probably would have agreed. According to Mickey, Stallone was the only person who genuinely helped him during the worst period of his life. After Get Carter, Hollywood slowly started letting Mickey back in. He began getting supporting roles in bigger studio films like Once Upon a Time in Mexico and Man on Fire. Then came Sin City, where he finally landed another major role. And after that came the movie that truly brought him back into the spotlight, The Wrestler. Darren Aronofsky's movie became a huge success relative to its budget. Critics loved Rourke's performance, and Mickey suddenly found himself nominated for an Academy Award while also winning a Golden Globe. For a brief moment, it genuinely looked like Mickey Rourke was fully back. Then came Iron Man 2, The Expendables, and Immortals. And honestly, there probably was a real path toward a stable Hollywood comeback at that point. But another problem had already become impossible to ignore: Mickey's appearance. Rourke himself says he trusted the wrong plastic surgeon, who completely ruined his face, and every attempt to fix the damage only made things worse. In interviews, Mickey has openly admitted that he hates looking at himself in the mirror and still feels genuinely heartbroken over losing the face that made him a sex symbol in the first place. Today, Mickey Rourke mostly lives in the world of low-budget B-movies, alongside guys like Gary Daniels and Eric Roberts. Another major comeback probably isn't happening, but hopefully during that late 2000s resurgence, he managed his money a little better than he did back in the 80s. Because after everything this guy has been through, maybe he at least deserves to retire without worrying about grocery carts anymore. That was Frame Back. Subscribe for more rewinds and see you on the next one.